Guest today is Pierce Kafka. He is the CEO and creative director of Kafka Media Group. It's kind of ironic that he's the CEO of Kafka Media Group, don't you think?
Yeah, it's weird. He found a company that was named after him. That's pretty cool.
It's a integrated marketing agency where he leverages his years of experience in commercial production and advertising to transform brands into household names through authentic storytelling. He and his team have worked on award-winning campaigns from Fortune 500 companies, seeing projects from development, production, and distribution. Recently releasing his debut film that we can talk about. He can mention that when he comes on. I won't give that away. He has over 10 years in making a $0 to dollar budget or production budget, Contradiction. It's a sun-soaked Now, this is, I'm going to get tongue-tied on saying this, Kafkaesque thriller set in the 1990s in Miami, recently recognized with Best Feature Film Director at the Indie Vegas Film Festival Award. He has, the other thing is he delivered a TED Talk on the making of Contradiction and filmmaking tactics. He's
Cool.
also a regular on the Forbes Council as a Forbes Council contributor in marketing, publishing pieces such as How to Market Your Film Like a Startup, a Go-To-Market Playbook. And so he's going to be able to provide some expert insight into these films like Obsession, these micro budget successes that have been out there. And, it seems like we've seen a couple of them this summer lately, but I think we're going to see more and more. I mean, this isn't the first time that's happened. I mean, this has happened before, but there must be a recipe to
that's what we're going to find out.
Yep.
Find out how the magic is made.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's bring him on.
Pierce Kafka, welcome to the podcast.
Hey guys. Hi, Sean and Jonathan. Thanks for having me.
I'm
excited to chat today.
Yeah, absolutely.
It'll be fun.
It'll be a fun conversation.
Why should people stick around? What are they going to hear from the
I think we're going to talk about story and art and having a product that we think is good, but why should people care, and how can we get people to buy into what we're selling? Because at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if something's good or not, because if you do the marketing right, you could sell anything. So I think it definitely helps to have something good, and how do we make the cream rise to the top? And we'll talk about that today. So stay tuned.
Yeah, very good.
You know who you look like? You look like the guy. There's I saw a teaser to this new thing about Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, I saw that.
Have you seen that? Yeah.
The making of Rocky. Yes. Yeah, I love the movie Rocky.
Yep.
Yeah. If you let your hair out a little bit longer,
I could see that.
His voice was really good in that trailer.
Yeah, it was. He did and he even has the look like the early days of Rocky.
Yeah. Crazy story how he sold his dog and then bought his dog back after he got the money for selling the screenplay.
Yeah, that's
a good story.
All-time stories.
That's a feel good.
Yeah.
It'd be bad if they said, sorry, we already sold the dog off. You can't get it back.
You guys have a favorite movie?
Oh man,
that's hard to nail down one, but if I had to, mine is probably The Princess Bride. As crazy as that sounds.
Great choice.
Oh, I thought you were going to say what's the Christopher Nolan film that you always talk about?
Inception.
Inception's
in the top 5, yeah, for sure.
Top 5, but yeah.
So
Princess
it's probably
Bride, Inconceivable.
Princess Bride, A Knight's Tale.
Oh yeah,
I love A Knight's Tale.
I haven't heard that. Yeah, I haven't heard someone say that, but that's great. Heath Ledger.
Yeah, No Country for Old Men would be mine.
Oh yeah, that's
great movie. No music in that movie.
Oh.
They did the whole thing without music. The Coen brothers.
Yep.
Yeah, I just watched on Netflix this week Old Henry, and it was surprising. I had no idea what to expect, and it was really good. So
I haven't seen Old Henry, but I'll check it out.
Yeah, I won't spoil anything, but it was a good modern Western, I guess. It takes place in 1800s, early 1900s, but it still has that Western feel, but with the new cinematography and
Yeah.
better
Western.
acting. So, well, let's before we jump in, get too far along, let's talk about our beverages so we could do a toast. We'll let our guests go first. Pierce, you're going to surprise us. What do you have on?
Well, I think my favorite beverage would be a Coca-Cola, but today, because you guys are drinking beer and maybe you guys have like an IPA, but I just brought in a Coors and
Oh.
I'll put it in a coffee mug, KMG coffee mug.
Silver bullet.
All right. Have you guys ever had one?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Several.
That's
I think
my
Coors. Honestly, I think Coors was the first beer I ever had.
Well, it's
Probably,
a good choice.
Yeah. I don't remember if it was a Coors Light or if it was just a Coors, because this was way back in what?
Was it
89?
in a can or was it in glass?
It was in a can.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Right out of the cooler. All that.
Coors
so,
is my Coors Light's my go-to out on the golf course because they don't have anything else. So
yeah, it's hydrating.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes. Very hydrating.
It's got some.
It's basically electrolytes, right?
Yeah. It's like the Gatorade of beer.
Exactly.
That one's free.
Yep.
Jonathan, what do you got?
I have something called a Creature Comforts. It's a summer shandy.
Nice. Yeah, seasonal.
The first
there we go.
shandy. Yeah. So this one is. It looks really good. Let's see. You can see it on the screen.
Looks refreshing. Just the
nothing
can
special.
looks refreshing.
Just an easy drinking summer drink, crisp with notes of lemon zest. It'll keep you cool all summer long. So,
all right. I think I've seen another episode. You said your son made a beer.
Yes. Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
So for Christmas 2 years ago, we did a brew. He got to brew the whole shebang, like all of the brew making kit and everything, because he likes to do stuff like that. He's very creative. And so, yeah, we've made about, I guess, maybe 4 or 5 together so far. And the first 2 turned out pretty good. The last 2 that we've done were bust big time.
Yeah. So, what was the problem?
I think I didn't follow. I think we split the ingredients a little bit too much. So I didn't have the proper container, one of the containers. So I did some fuzzy math in my head on the on the ratio of ingredients, and so it must have made a mistake somewhere along the way.
Well, that's fun. Yeah, cool. And Sean, what are you drinking?
So I'm going off the reservation a little bit. So I went to the beer store, and after 400 episodes, it gets hard to find a beer. I mean, other than IPA, because we're not big IPA fans, so those are all over the place. But
right.
So I just went. I'd seen these advertised, and I wanted to try them because it's pool season. So I got a Cutwater is the brand, lime margarita, and there's these pre-mixed cocktails. Tiny little can. It's only 6 ounces. But they pack a punch. When I checked out, the guy was like, "Be careful, those pack a punch." I was like, "Okay, good to know, because it looks like he'd had a few." Yep. So, yeah, this comes in
every time we say the word story. You should take a swig.
Yeah, well, I got 2, so just in case. But yeah, they're 12.5%.
Might be in trouble.
So you guys may have to run the show at 12.
Yeah,
I'm at 12.5% here. But all right, well, let's do a taste and a cheers. Cheers to a good episode. Cheers creativity.
A double tap.
All right. So Pierce, we give a score 1 to 5. You can use decimal points. 5 being the best. What do you give the old standby Coors Light there?
I think a solid 8 for today. It's quenching the thirst.
8 out of 5.
Out of 5. Out of 5, I'd give it.
You've gone through the stratosphere.
Maybe 4 out of 5. 4 out of 5.
Okay. Yeah, I mean it's a stalwart, right? It's been around forever, so
yeah, we got to give credit where it's due.
Exactly. Jonathan.
I will also go a 4, an even 4. It's very refreshing. Not a go-to, but during the summertime, sitting by the pool, a couple of these, 2 or 3 of these, easy smooth, refreshing. So why not?
Yeah. I'm going to give this a solid 4.8.
Wow.
It tastes
Ooh.
like a restaurant margarita. Like a lot
You
of
could
times these
taste the
canned drinks.
tequila.
Oh yeah. I mean, at 12.5%. Yeah. It's not, it's not like the seltzers that are like 4%. And,
Yeah.
this tastes like a restaurant margarita. It really
Really?
does. Yeah. Just need to throw a little salt around the edge of the can and it'd be set.
Around the rim. Yeah.
So may do that. Just dip the can and get some salt in there. No, it's really good. Very good.
How'd you guys come to making a podcast together?
Origin story time. So
I'm sure you have it.
We started, Sean used to live in the same town in Knoxville. Sean now lives in Austin, Texas. I still live around Knoxville, Tennessee. And, but when Sean lived here, we used to get together over at Casual Pint. It's kind of a chain of places. I mean, it's like a craft beer place. You go and just sit and have a beer. And we used to do that. Well, we'd do that on a Friday a lot of times and just sit and talk marketing. Yeah. And sometimes we'd have another buddy join us and we'd just sit. And then finally we just like, you know what, should turn this into a podcast. And we did.
Yeah, because you guys have different backgrounds, both touching marketing, and there's a little overlap in being able to talk about it together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I've been doing podcasting for a long time, and naturally I want to take everything and turn it into a podcast. And I'm like, this is good stuff that we're talking about, and we should share it. So and it'd be fun to have guests on like yourself. So
cool.
And Sean's got a background, and he's got a strong background in copywriting. So I always learn things from him, and we bring people on, and I learn things. I mean, to me, it's just, I love it because there's so many takeaways, and I can introduce stuff like this into my own business, and it's a lot of fun too. So,
and Jonathan's closing, big deals, industrial sales, he's does all that stuff. So he's on the other side of it, in person.
Absolutely.
I'm in print, he's in person. So it's been a fun mix. But enough about us. You're the star of the show, Pierce. So
that's right.
Give us a little background of how you ended up with a marketing group. I mean, it says media group, but you're much a marketing agency.
We're a marketing agency. I started making videos in middle school. I think I got a camera to record myself, my basketball games or something like that. But I was having more fun with my friends making videos. By the time I got to high school, I was making longer short films, or YouTube came around and trying to make things for social media. And it quickly became clear that it didn't matter how much effort we put into making an amazing product. There was something missing, and that missing element was the marketing of that. 50% of making anything, at least 50% of making anything, is the marketing / distribution. How is it being seen, and how is it being packaged, is in what kind of capacity.
Yeah.
And so when you start focusing on that, you can start thinking backwards. You can start designing what you're creating for the marketing and the distribution. Then all of a sudden it's a lot easier to make things go viral, to find an audience, to make good content. So if you are focusing on content, I think a lot of people do start with focusing on the content. And the true answer is thinking backwards and thinking about where this is going to be seen and by who. Luckily, I figured that out a little bit earlier. So by the time I graduated college doing marketing and production, I started a company when I was in my younger 20s, and we've been doing it now for 14 years. My wife and I, her background being in publicity, mine in the commercial production. And so we're integrated marketing and development. When I was a sophomore going into my junior year, I filmed a feature film for $0. And the whole goal was, how do I make something that looks like a large production value with nothing, and do well. I think I knew that it would always take 10 years or more to do. And so I've kind of just hobby been working on that in the background, and we released that maybe a few months ago to film festivals. And so we're just having fun right now doing the marketing and building a strong case study with ourselves on what we could do with independent film. And so, yeah, that's something we're having fun
Zero. You
doing.
said zero budget. You didn't put
Zero budget, absolutely nothing. If even if something was relatively inexpensive, that still wasn't an option.
You weren't allowed
It
to.
was,
Yeah.
yeah, we had to
That's
figure out
awesome.
how to do this for free.
That's a cool
And-
constraint though, because it forces you to
forces
you know,
you. Yeah.
we talk about
Yeah.
constraints. Not enough people use constraints in
Right.
that way to kind of force creativity and thinking and all that. So that's
I
cool.
think there's this rule of thumb in production: good, fast, and cheap, and you can only pick two.
Mhm.
And so if we want it to be good and we want it to be cheap, it's going to be slow. And so slow it was, and it took a long time.
Yeah.
I actually started writing it my sophomore year of high school. But yeah, so thinking backwards with the marketing, that's one of those things, is from a marketing standpoint, to be able to say this was $0. This was filming real people with a long lens from far away and plopping our actors into the world and filming what would happen. A series of around maybe 50 of these bullet points of really high concept marketing ideas, building as the building blocks of the film. And it's all come together. And I think what's cool about it is it's not a cookie cutter movie. It's trying to push what films can be. And I think it's a little difficult in when you release something like that and meeting audience expectations, but momentum builds and the stories build, and we're just getting started with that. And so I'm excited for the rest of the year and see how it develops into what we're doing next.
How did you film? Did you film it on a phone, iPhone, or?
Yeah, so digital cameras just got to the point when that they were good enough for theatrical. These, the Canon DSLR cameras with
Yeah.
a large sensor
Mhm.
and being able to film. And yeah, so I already had the camera from making corporate
Oh, okay.
videos, and
So you didn't have to
and
buy equipment.
I
or
didn't have to
anything?
buy I didn't have to buy equipment, but when we're talking about equipment, we're talking about, just the camera and me.
Sure. Yeah.
And my co-writer had a boom mic. And
Okay.
so it's kind of just that. So how do we get good lighting? Well, we utilize natural lighting and scenes. And I think 99% of anything outdoors was filmed during magic hour or the golden hour. So it's like a big
Yeah.
softbox with the sun.
Yeah.
And natural lighting and motivated lighting by natural things is always going to be a lot more beautiful anyways. And
Yep.
so,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you see that in some of the older movies,
Mhm.
where they
Yeah.
used a little bit more of that and not so much kind of manufactured, manipulated light.
Yeah, and they might have had to, because film technology was, you needed a lot of light, and so a lot of stuff was either outside using the sun, or you had to be in a soundstage with these giant lights. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true, because the film actually has to get exposed to light to work, right?
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
another advantage we had, is that now we don't need as much light to get nice images.
Yeah.
Do you notice I think we were talking about this recently, though. A lot of the films today, like for indoor settings, it's like everything is always super dark, Have you
Yeah.
noticed that? Like if
Yeah.
they're not in an outdoor setting, then like when they're filming inside or indoors, and I don't know when this shift started changing, but it seems like the movies over the last 5 to 10 years, somewhere along the way, they went really dark, like in terms of the lighting, like on the inside. So
Dark mode.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's
I think that film is definitely more forgiving with being able to have brighter areas and darker areas, or having this dynamic range. But the
Yeah.
other part is we have a lot more means of distribution and channels, and Netflix and Amazon and this and that. And so
Yeah.
there's a lot more stuff being made, and there's arguably a lot more trash being made as well, or mediocre, or not as talented cinematography, or the
Right.
basics of, okay, you put a light on here and light on here,
Mhm.
and not really thinking about all that. But if
Sure.
you're looking at movies with great cinematography, the lighting isn't something to complain about. There's still great lighting. It's just, I think the average has just made it seem like there's not as good. And
Sure.
it's definitely true. There's a lot more mediocre or content out there. I think between 1992 and 2003 is probably peak cinema in general.
Yeah. I
for
would
a few
agree.
reasons.
Yeah.
Well, tell us what you've learned. So you said this film that you made took 10 years to make. Same characters throughout, or did it jump?
Yeah, so I filmed it all in 3 months in 2012.
Okay.
Yeah, so a little more than 10 years. And then it's just the footage needing that many years of editing because the way that we filmed it was a little experimental. Because we didn't have film and we had digital, we could film longer periods of time. And I'm filming people in the real world, public areas, and plopping our actors in and filming it almost like a documentary from far away and filming what could happen. Okay, sometimes we would film for hours and we didn't get it, or we'd have to do it again, or we didn't find what we were looking for and had to do it again the next day. So hundreds of hours of footage, at least 500 hours of footage. And with that kind of variety, there's a lot of room for interpretation in the edit. And so, yeah, a lot of work. And it's a lot of work for a single person to do it as well, I think. Keeping it on that low budget that we talked about meant I was editing it. So I filmed it, wrote it, I co-wrote it, and then I edit it. And so that takes a long time to do the color and the audio and every single scene. And then the first cut was maybe 4 hours, and then I got to figure out how do I make this 90 minutes and bring it all together. That took another 2 years right there.
Yeah. Well, all right, let's talk about the marketing of this stuff, because you put all your heart and soul and time into this. And we've seen some movies like Obsession that Jonathan talked about, and, even going back to Blair Witch Project, and what's the other one? The couple that did the horror series that did real well. We talked about this before, Jonathan.
Oh, yeah. I've forgotten.
I always forget the name, but anyway, so you've got this art, and it was interesting as you were talking earlier, the idea that came into my mind when you talked about getting seen as half the work. I thought of the quote, if a tree falls in the forest and no one hears it, does it make a sound?
Right.
I wrote down, is it art if art's not experienced?
Right. Yeah, we definitely can't be selfish either with whatever we're making. If we're generating content, even if you're selling something, you got to think about the offer. Like, what are you giving?
Yeah.
And so I don't think this movie was made because we just wanted to make a movie. I think a lot of times people do just want to make a movie, and so they'll think of the cookie cutter thing. Or I think if I felt like that, or I wanted to win an Oscar or do something else, I probably would have finished a lot sooner. But I think the genesis was trying to have fun exploring like a new way of telling stories, and like maybe more about the process instead of the end product. And so when we're thinking about process, the rule of thumb would be, if you're generating something, how can I be the only person to tell this? How can it be so specific and so personal that it then becomes universal to whoever is viewing it? And what do I have to say? If you could figure out what you have to contribute and synthesize it down into something that makes sense to you, I think it'll resonate emotionally with your audience. So that's the goal. And I think you could take that and it's parallel for any marketing work or sales work that you do as well, that you have to think of it like that I'm selling this craft beer. What does it mean to me and why? And how can I say that in a way that makes sense to me, and it'll work for the end user. And it takes more work, but it's also a lot less work if you could figure that all out in pre-production versus post-production, or figuring it out later.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had to write for a few of those that did not think about that kind of stuff early on. So you've got the right motivation behind it. You've gotten the the personal angle that makes it special and universal. How do you actually find the audience? Like, what are you guys learning about actually finding audiences in such a scattered and distracted marketplace?
Yeah, I think that everything is in steps
Mhm.
and phases. And if we're going, um, a big aspect of what we were doing here was one, creating a case study for like what we could do with marketing. Two, me as a filmmaker, yes, I love making movies. I'd like to continue um, in a capacity on the next project. And I actually wrote my next project before I wrote that one. I'm still working on it, but how do you leverage what you're doing now for what you want to do next and making that part of it? So what is if you're a company and you're working on a marketing campaign, what's your company goal? Is it to hire investors? Is it to bring on new talent? How can you create marketing campaigns that complement or help achieve that? And so what the film is just the next step or how we leverage what we're doing next. And so I want to make the next project. And so how is getting this into film festivals and the marketing campaign going to open doors and conversations and add rapport so that when we're pitching or creating a pitch deck for the next project, it's a lot more accessible. And so that's kind of the track for finding an audience. What developed when we first started was this whole streaming and YouTube, and I think I always planned on this film being uploaded to YouTube for free or for a low cost or something super accessible and not behind either a heavy paywall or a specific library or selling this,
Mhm.
that it would be still owned by me as the artist on my own YouTube channel and kind of like musicians now put their music videos on their
Yeah.
YouTube channel. Maybe that's how it'll be for film one day, and Martin Scorsese's movies will be on his channel instead of Paramount's and HBO's and
Right.
6 other channels.
Yeah.
That's a cool vision. I mean, there's been some talk of that. Um, with Gary Vee. Are you familiar with Gary Vaynerchuk?
I've seen some clips of him, not
Yeah.
too heavy, but I love the energy and I love
Yeah. One
his
thing he talked about was, with blockchain technology, how this independent creator could be a lot more, um, could be rewarded more because they can get micro, you can get even smaller investments, or not just investments, but people paying, per view and all that kind of stuff. So you can almost set up your own, like you said, your own
Yeah,
little studio.
if anyone could distribute whatever they're doing themselves, and you don't need to pay $1 million to get it on TV or
Hmm.
to get your ad on the radio, if you can add your own things to Spotify and to YouTube and other freemium platforms, then it comes down to the marketing that
Yep.
what was the studio doing before, anyways? But besides putting it up in theaters throughout the country, they were getting posters made, they were making commercials, trying to fill butts and seats. So now that falls back on the creator. And that's where like a company or like mine would come in. And if we find projects or companies that we believe in that we can help figure out how to tell that story and get views on it, then that's the goal. And then how you monetize it, whether that's putting ads on, working with sponsors, or charging per views. Uh, I think that's the future we're kind of heading in with, independent art or independent product making.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. And with movies, though, a lot more people are just comfortable watching at home. I still like the movie theater experience. Obviously, I watch more at home than I do in the theater because it's just easier and things like that. But I do wonder if that eventually dies, or how that works, or if we have a kind of
We're definitely
analog
at a turning
revival.
point. I
Yeah.
think when I think about movies at the movie theater, it's kind of like cake. And when you go to the theater, it's like icing on your cake. And cake is good on its own, and you eat it at home, and it's delicious. But when you have icing, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
some would say it's better. And so I think it still will be there. There's something communal. There's something scarier when you're watching a scary movie in the dark. There's something funnier when you're in a room with a bunch of
Right.
other people laughing around you. That maybe as we get older, or there's these periods where we don't have as much time to go to the theater. But I think middle school kids and high school kids and are always going to be wanting to get out of the house and go to the movies.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the last few times I've been to the movies, partly because the times I guess I go of the day, and I'm older, so the older crowd still is going to the movies quite a bit. The empty nesters are going, to the daytime and matinee shows and things like that. But part of that's just nostalgia of the theater and again, time and disposable income and all that kind of stuff.
Well, there's a lot less movies in the theater now than there used to be, and part of that is the studios would rather have a few big budget movies that they know will do well, versus making a bunch of medium and low budget or medium budget movies that maybe fail and cost a lot of money.
Sure.
And then so we either have giant movies or we have these $5 million and below movies, kind of like the Backrooms and the Obsession movie that recently came out. And so those do well for the studio because they don't cost much and they make a lot of money.
When those two films went out, do they have nationwide distribution, or would they?
They did, yeah. Because when you have A24 was Obsession, and A24 was Backrooms, and then Blumhouse was Obsession. So they did have nationwide reach, but there's something also about the whole summer blockbuster thing, and I think Obsession with appealing to the younger crowd who haven't had a reason to go to the movies in a while. It really brought a lot of people back to the theater.
So one of the things I was going to say, and I don't know if it's with Backrooms, but the guys that made Obsession, they were already doing a lot of YouTube stuff. So I think they had a built-in, didn't they have they had a built-in
for sure
on YouTube. Yeah. So that helped a lot. That's what
he was
a lot
on
of people are
TikTok and YouTube.
Yeah.
Actually, both of them. I had a background in YouTube and TikTok. In fact, I remember seeing Backrooms clips from that creator maybe almost 10 years ago. And he's a pretty young guy, maybe 22 or 23 when he made Backrooms. Yeah. So this is something he was working on when he was younger.
Wow.
And so it's cool to see that come together. And I think maybe it just made it easier to also get that distribution deal, that there's a lot of talented creators that just haven't had the opportunity to get a budget and to get other talented people. I have a friend who works in development at Disney, and I know that the executives have been saying, we need to find creators and we need to find content like this Backrooms and Obsession. So I think we're about to see a surge in some of this.
Well, I mean, we're seeing that with podcasters who become authors too, right? I mean, like now, if you have a good TikTok following and Instagram, and if you've got all the social following, you can get a book deal. Like you don't need a good book; you just need an audience.
That's right. That's the main thing publishers want, is they want to see that you've got a big audience.
That's more important than the big idea these days.
That's exactly
unfortunately.
Right.
Do you think the big publisher is needed as much when you can self-publish and do the marketing thing, or is it just yin and yang?
I don't think it's needed. I think it's. I mean, if you've got 100,000, 200,000, million, whatever followers, you can launch your own book and probably do better than the publisher would do for you, especially at the margins, because you're getting 80%, even on, even if you go on Amazon, you're getting 30, 40% instead of 10.
Yeah.
So the publishers only give you 10?
Something, yeah, around that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, $1 or so per book or whatever, and then you're still doing the speaking tour. You're still, it's your time, and they might open a few doors for you. But if you've got the followers, then.
So we're saying big publishers and big movie houses are in trouble.
Yeah. So what would the benefit would be the legal protections and maybe the money up front.
There's some ego. I mean, there's definitely some ego being with a Harper or
Yeah,
Penguin
and I bet
House
some
or
of the big writers have different publishing deals that the publishers aren't getting as a
yeah.
high
Right.
percentage.
Right.
I wanted to ask you about, I don't know if you've seen this. I'm going to put it up on the screen. So there's this one I've been following. Same thing. They were doing this on Instagram and YouTube, mostly on Instagram, I think. And the movie it's a documentary. It's called Dante 500 Miles on Psychedelics. So this guy who's never done endurance running decides he's going to run 500 miles while taking psychedelics because I don't know. So anyway, they did a GoFundMe or Indiegogo or one of those campaigns to fund some of it. And now they're doing like a one-time,
This is
rental
cool.
for
So it's like
$12.99.
if you're good at something, never do it for free, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah, no, I
it's
haven't
interesting.
heard of this, but it's definitely something interesting to see that they're building an audience, and that I think, yeah, it comes down to what are those high concepts or these things that are just so easy to tell other people, and it's memeable because it's a shareable or funny idea. You
Yeah.
saying that to us, it makes us crack up because it's so unique and it's different, and
Yeah.
so it's easier to find an audience like that.
Yeah. I mean, there's a huge psychedelic audience on, Instagram and, biohacking. It's a good crossover of biohacking, endurance athlete, psychedelics. There's definitely a Venn diagram for those three groups. And I think that's what they're trying to hit. But
That's
you
the
know,
cool thing too now is that groups and niches are so grouped together, and they're so large now. And you could find a subreddit of 2 million people just for the psychedelics who would be
Mhm.
interested in watching that. And before, it would have been a little bit harder to find an audience, or especially in theaters like that.
yeah, and especially when you get into those kind of things that are still kind of in the gray market, like
Yeah.
how do you advertise, on platforms that consider that well, it is illegal, but like don't want to cross that line.
Yeah.
The Facebooks, things like that. So I'm curious on your movie, because when I watched the trailer for this and what I watched on Instagram and kind of followed them over the last 6 months or a year, the movie kind of changed as it was made, and probably as it was edited as much as anything. Like, did that happen for you in your movie?
Yeah, I think all great movies, especially fall into this, and a lot of TV and some movies, there's teams of writers, and it's kind of all pre-planned out. But most writer directors will say when they first write something, the movie's this one thing. When they finish filming it, it's this other thing, and then when they finish the edit, it's this third movie.
Yeah.
And if you are open to starting over, to rethinking the process at every single stage like that, you are more open to the magic that happens only when you open that door. That all the lines we love in movies were these improvised lines, or where the characters and the actors became one, and said something that wasn't in the script, and for some reason it resonated, and it felt more real than anything anyone could write. That was a big part of what we did when we were making the movie. Was we wanted to set a strong foundation with the screenplay, and spent many years writing it. Did the first few takes just like it was in the screenplay, and then threw them away and said, do whatever feels right. And we did another 10 takes after that, and by the end of it, something was definitely raw, real, and so much better than we could have ever imagined. And it meant being flexible every single day, and how do we adjust for the next. And this was all by design. We made sure that our main character was wearing the same outfit throughout the entire film. I wrote the screenplay around the characters. It starred my friend, my sister, my stepfather, his friend. These are people who've never acted before, but if you watch the film or you see the trailer, and the reception we've received in film festivals is their performances are amazing. And I think that they're amazing because we let them be real instead of had them act.
Yeah.
So yeah, a few different techniques that most filmmakers lean into, and we definitely opened it up, which made the editing a lot more difficult, take a lot more time, but it's something cool, and I think you could tell when you watch.
It's amazing though what you can do. Um, it seems sometimes like shooting it, and this is what I've heard. I don't have experience on this, but I've I've heard that like sometimes the shooting part can be haphazard and just feel like it's just nothing but chaos. And then the editing is where everything just kind of is like comes together. I remember reading an interview with Gene Hackman when he did Hoosiers, and he said this was like he was so embarrassed after the film. He was telling people like, "I
Yeah.
hope you've got another career lined up because this is we're finished after this. This is so bad." And then they brought him in to the editing, after they were putting it all together, and he was just blown away. Like, how
Yeah,
did what how did what we shoot turn out to look like that? But then when you start adding in the music and you start, the emotion and the film, the editing and the cinematography comes together, it's like, well, that looks nothing like what I did in
yeah,
front of a
yeah,
camera.
there's definitely a lot more control in being able to be a perfectionist inside editing.
Yeah.
And so there's really no excuse why something shouldn't be good if you have
Right.
an amazing director slash editor,
Right.
because um, they're gonna put their stamp when it's done.
Yeah.
And if you notice any great filmmaker, like all their work is gonna be really good or top notch, or any great creator.
Mhm.
And Gene Hackman in that story gave it his all and
Yeah.
maybe didn't fully trust the director, but the director
Right.
did a good job. But you can't get great performances unless they're willing to land on their butt or look awful,
Sure.
or seeming like they're giving a bad performance.
Yeah.
Like if we saw half the takes of Leonardo DiCaprio acting, I
Yeah.
bet most of them seem awful, but
Yeah.
he's putting himself out there far enough and trusting the director slash editor to pick the best stuff to make
Mhm.
him look good. But I guarantee most of the time, nothing ever looks as good
No.
until you get to the later on. Yeah, and that's why you
Right.
do multiple takes and multiple things. No one's
Yeah.
perfect in the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people are all grumpy and there's you're dealing with all the tensions and then the conflicts and the temperaments and the, how
Humans.
people are, human. Yeah, exactly. Trying to get along on the set and all that stuff. I mean, it's crazy how,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I've been on all kinds of sets, and I definitely agree with you. It's especially on commercial production, there's so many cooks in the kitchen,
yeah.
and it's by the end of it, it's a miracle if anyone likes each other.
Yeah.
Um, and so, yeah, you try to have fun, and you try to keep your eye on the final project, final deliverable, but also like how much can you storyboard and pre-plan out to
Sure.
begin with, and it's a little easier to feel for everyone to feel like they're in good hands,
Yeah.
and to have that trust. Because if everyone's trusting each other, everything's a good time.
Yeah.
It's when the lack of trust, that's when arguments happen.
Right. Right. So I sent you, we were talking earlier. I sent Sean a link to the short film that Takova's Boots put out. I don't know how recent this was, but
Yeah, I think it was 3 months ago. I
okay.
just checked it out because you guys sent it.
Yeah,
Yeah, a beautiful piece. Interesting to see a brand or a clothing brand hire a Academy Award winning and nominated actors and director and writer to produce this short film. Not even a commercial, but an actual short film.
Yeah, that's what I
And
found interesting
that
about
fact
it
that you
was
guys wanted to talk about it is
yeah.
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah, the fact that it wasn't a commercial that they put their name on it as, Tagovas Presents, but they didn't turn it into a commercial. They didn't overemphasize the boots. I mean, the boots are barely in the pic, right? I mean, that takes a lot of guts to put that kind of money behind that. But the thing was, at the end, I still wanted to buy a pair of boots.
How did you
yeah.
guys see it, and then why did you like it?
I found somebody shared it on LinkedIn because I'm on LinkedIn, and I just when I clicked on the link, normally I will bypass a lot of this, but whoever shared it did a really good job of describing it, and so it piqued my curiosity. I watched the whole thing through, and then immediately I was like, oh my goodness. I sent it over to Sean. Like, this is,
Yeah,
check
and this
this
is
out.
what, 13, 14 minutes. That's not the 20-second
Yeah.
reel
Yeah.
Right.
kind of
Yeah.
thing. So yeah, I was definitely curious to hear more. I know
It,
high level for me, it's beautiful, but it's also subconsciously selling the brand and
right.
the emotion and the ruggedness and what
Yeah.
it means, to what this brand means in emotional terms that maybe
Yeah.
normal words can't really put together, but a film can. And so, were there any like moments or things from this that really?
Yeah, there's some subtle, like you said, there's some subtle, not blatant promotion of the boots. Like when he's obviously there's some zoom ins when he's walking across the desert, but then when he, when he leaves his suit behind and he's in the robe and he goes into the store and he's just got nothing but his boots and the robe on, like
Yeah. I'll
I
take
need
the
to
rest.
change. I'll take
Yeah,
the
you want-
rest.
Yeah.
You wanted the jeans and the shirt and the hat.
Is that
Yeah.
is that how the rest of the brand is? Is that just like they're taking this um, abnormal approach to marketing? Did they take an abnormal approach to boots?
I don't think so. I mean, I think
Yeah.
so. What hooked me? I mean, obviously Jonathan sent it, so I was going to watch it anyway. But like the title, I live in Texas, so the
Yep.
love letter to Texas really hit me.
Yes.
And Texas is its own market, right? I mean, it's its own country as far as
Yeah, there's like a
GDP
pride
and-
and patriotic.
yeah, and just a purely financial GDP of Texas is significant. Like there's brands that they make their whole living just being in Texas. Our grocery stores is one of them. But to talk to the Texas people in a way about their state and about that very thing, the ruggedness, the independence, the quality of life not being about the stuff you have, but about the way you show up and work. I mean, that's the Texas attitude, especially when you get outside that may not necessarily be true in, some parts deep in the cities, but definitely in West Texas. But there's that spillover of that mindset. I mean, there's a mindset and energy in Texas when you're here that is different than anywhere I've ever lived, for sure.
Yeah.
Like it's completely different than East Tennessee has its own,
Definitely. Yep.
And Texas just has this can-do spirit.
Yeah.
That is just,
and they tapped into that spirit.
They tapped into it. And, if you're here or if you've ever been through here or you've ever heard about it, then you want to be part of it.
And it takes you, it's like nostalgia too, because this is obviously like takes place in the 80s. Because you look at everything, it really has that old country, was it Old Country for Old Men?
No Country for Old Men.
No Country for
it's got
Old
that.
Men.
It's got that kind of golden coloring over the whole thing
Yes.
too.
Yeah.
Like you see in like we've talked about this before, Jonathan. Like in some of the Latin American films or or films that take place in Mexico or Latin America, there's this kind of golden haze that covers the whole whole movie.
Sepia.
Yeah, this looks exactly like No Country for Old Men, the way it's set.
Yeah.
I mean, just the setting, the time period. I don't know if that was shot in Texas or not when they did the filming there, but
you want to be that.
So
similar. You want to be, I think, by the end, you want to be that character, right?
Yeah.
The main character in there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like you want to be the guy that's willing to walk away. You want to be the guy that is willing to work hard. That is the Tecovas brand. Like, work hard on the ranch and then go dancing that night, right? In the same pair of boots.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you guys shared it. That was definitely something interesting that I want to show our team, because that's another way that we see that marketing isn't just black and white. It's not just ads or clicks or this or that.
It's not just call to action.
No.
Right. I mean, everybody thinks you have to have a call to action, and
right.
They did a great job where they could have easily put something on the end of that and it would have been kind of a letdown.
Yeah.
It turned it into an ad, but you just left with that feeling. And the only way to fulfill that feeling is to go buy the boots.
Right.
Well, it's
it's awesome to see it on YouTube, because there's different channels, and there's TikTok and there's Instagram and there's YouTube. And you don't want to make anything that kind of fits all of them, that
Yeah,
every
right.
single platform works in a different way. And YouTube works around 13 minutes, at least right
Yeah.
now.
yeah,
And so it's cool to see them make something so well fit for YouTube.
yeah, and
Yeah, and
it does
widescreen.
something. Yeah, exactly. And I think I was telling Sean, like, you think about the boots, like the boots are in there, but by the end of the film, you're starting to evaluate your own life, right?
Mhm.
And that's I think that does that's an amazing job that it does. Like, it ties in not only their product, but you evaluating what your own priorities are in life, right? As opposed to, your everyday, what you're doing every day, like,
Yeah. Am I going to work for the man, or am I going to go my own
exactly.
way and
Right.
make my own future?
Yep.
That's
And they did a good job because we're talking about it.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Every one of our 12 viewers is hearing about it right now. So
12 now, but just
Yeah.
like Van Gogh, we don't do our work for now. We do our
That's
work
right.
for the
That
audience.
is exactly right.
And
Yeah.
just like the film that I worked on, it's more about the process and who we're becoming and what we're developing for what we're doing next.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. Well,
And
Jonathan,
I really appreciate you guys having me.
Yeah. Just to wrap it up, how would you kind of wrap all this up into, somebody that wants to do like their own, create their own film, their own independent film like you've done? Kind of what advice would you give them initially?
Yeah, my advice is, if you don't have something to say, don't do it. But
Right.
if you do have something that you can't help but feel like you need to do it, then you could start down the path, because you got to be careful. It is a lot of work. It's a lot of
Mhm.
energy. It's a lot of time. There's other thing. We've got a short blip of time
Yeah.
to spend on this planet. And if you do feel so inclined to create something like a film, then get really clear on what you're trying to say and how you could be the only person to say it. After that, it becomes pretty easy, because then you have something of substance. And when you have something of substance and you're passionate about it, that's contagious, and you'll get people to want to help make your vision come to life. And then you'll go down that path. And it doesn't matter production wise how much money you have, how little money you have, as long as your audio is not bad, and audio is not too difficult
Yeah.
to correct. But yeah, you'll create something, and it'll lead to whatever's going next. So yeah, that's my advice.
Very cool.
All right. And people can find you at Kafka.com, Kafka.com.
Yep, Kafka.com. And after this, I'm working on adapting Franz Kafka's book, The Metamorphosis, where a man wakes up as a bug. That's the next film that I'm working on developing now. So stay tuned for that.
A man wakes up as a bug. All right.
Yeah, famous book, but I'm taking a little twist with it, and we're gonna have a good time. And I think there's a good following behind it. So thanks for having me on, and maybe I'll be back here to talk about that another time.
Yeah. I'd love to invite you back. All right. Well, Pierce, we're going to send you the green room and close out. Thank you for joining us. It's been a real pleasure having you on, and we look forward to getting this out. We'll be sharing a link to Kafka Media Group on our show page and send you a link once we have it done. So thanks again for the time today.
Yep, thanks. And they can also check out Instagram.com/Contradiction Movie, or just at Contradiction Movie on Instagram.
For sure.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Episode 440. Check it out.
Yeah, I'm going to have to watch that movie, Contradiction.
Contradiction.
Have to pull that up.
Yeah.
So,
all right. I forgot to ask him where we can find it.
Probably
we'll
just
ask him after the show and insert it. Yeah, there we go. All right, check us out. Thanks for listening. Check us out, persuasionbythepint.com. Check us out on all of your favorite podcast platforms. We'll see you next week. We we may or may not have a guest lined up.
All right. Well,
We'll
either
see.
way, we'll see you.
All right. Take care.
All right.